Wonderful good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you, depending on what time you are watching this video and depending on which part of the globe you are watching us from. As always, my name is Peter Wedam, and I am a lead presenter at wedamBu TV. Okay, so the building behind me is right at the center of the Navrongo township in the Kasina-Nankana municipality. It is simply known and called the NACC building. In fact, many of us who grew up in Navrongo grew up knowing this building just as the NACC building. And we thought it was a complex of government offices, but we thought wrong. And it is for these reasons and more that we are going to talk to a technocrat, an architect who actually worked on this building in 1975. And we'll also be talking to a development consultant and a politician based in Navrongo who knows a bit of information about the coming into being of this building behind me. We call in Navrongo as just the NACC building. Follow me as we have a discussion with them. Okay, wedamBu TV has traveled to the Upper East Regional Capital, Bolgatanga, to talk to this technocrat who has a lot of rich information on this building in Navrongo called the NACC building. But many of us who grew up in Navrongo grew up knowing this building just as the NACC building. But is that really its name? What more do we know to this building that you cannot escape sight of if you come to the Navrongo township? It is for reasons of this nature, knowing what the building came to do, when it was constructed, who financed the project, and stuff like that we have come to Bolga to talk to Mr. John Sebum. We'd like him to introduce himself and we'll pick it from there. Sir, your name and what profession you come from as a background.
My name is John Sebum Seidu.
Okay.
I come from Navrongo. Okay. Presently based in Bolga. I'm an architect by profession.
Great. Do you also know of this giant building in the center of Navrongo called the NACC building?
Yes, that was the project I was actually handling.
Okay.
In 1975.
Okay. So is the building actually the NACC building, or there is a proper and official name to it?
The building was designed to be Navrongo Social Center.
Okay.
It was intended to provide information to people coming to Navrongo, to provide accommodation for people who come and they want a place to sleep, just like a guest house. It was also intended to provide social activities like restaurant, swimming pool, guest rooms, and all the other things that go to make visitors comfortable in Navrongo.
So how did the name NACC come to be associated with the building?
The building actually was designed, the initial contractors were Netherlands African Construction Company, NACC.
Okay.
N for Netherlands, A for African, C for construction, and the other C for company.
So that's where the NACC came from?
That's how the NACC came about.
Okay. Sir, who financed the construction of this NACC building? Whose project was it actually, if you recall?
It was at the time of Colonel Feli and co, who were administrators. They asked for that design, and the building was, the sketch designs were done by the NACC site supervisor.
Okay.
We came in, we were two architects then. We helped to prepare the working drawings, to do the setting out, and to get the building off the ground.
When you say we, were you representing an office or?
I was then of Architectural and Engineering Services Corporation.
Is that the AESL?
It was later on changed to a limited liability company. That's how the limited came in.
Okay.
But it was first a corporation.
So today's name of that corporation is called what?
Today it's now a limited liability company. So Architectural and Engineering Services Limited.
Okay, that was your office back then under a different name?
Yeah, on the corporation, yes. Okay.
Are you able to tell it which year the construction started?
The designs were, they started around September, October. In fact, sketch designs were done by NACC.
Yeah.
He was then a resident site supervisor.
Okay.
He was a white man from Netherlands.
Okay.
He did the sketch designs, and then he sought our assistance, AESC.
Okay. At the time.
To help with the working drawings.
Okay.
So we're two architects.
Okay.
Who assisted in preparing the working drawings.
Okay. And you said the year was which year?
1975.
Okay. Great. So can you tell us the particular place in the Navrongo township that the NACC building currently occupies? Was it some empty land? Was it a fallow land, or there was a building of some sort at that particular place before the NACC building came to be?
I would like to give a breakdown of the design proposals.
Yeah.
It had a portion for social services like information delivery. People who come, they want any information on Navrongo and its environs. It also had the social aspect. The second building was actually to cover the social aspect.
So these are the components of the whole project you are giving us now?
For the project.
Okay.
So the first building, like I said, was to house information center. It had a place for projecting of films and other things around. Yeah. Then the second building was to house a restaurant, to have residential facilities like guest house for visitors to Navrongo. It was supposed to have a swimming pool because of the weather. But of course, all these were not completed.
Are you able to tell me if there was a building or any structure standing at that place the NACC building came to occupy, or it was an empty land lying there?
The block 1, which was designed for the information portion.
Yeah. So for the sake of people who don't know Navrongo well, if you say block 1 and block 2, maybe you can add
why you are coming from Bolga and arriving in Navrongo to the lorry park.
Okay.
The building starts from there.
The very first portion of it.
The very first portion, and extends towards the hospital area.
Great.
The Chief's Palace.
Okay, so when you mention 1, 2,
I'm talking about the one which is by the lorry park.
Closest to the lorry.
Closest to the lorry park.
Great.
Yes, not the one which is away towards the hospital.
Okay. So block 1, yes.
Yes. Block 1, that particular place was where we had UAC building. UAC. That was where UAC was.
Okay.
And then part of it towards where we have the...
Please, UAC stands for what?
United African Company.
Okay.
They were building, they were merchants, general goods into things like sugar,
consumables.
Consumables.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
UAC.
That block, the frontage towards the main road, was where we had UAC in Navrongo.
Okay.
Then towards where they have the place for the projection of films, that's towards the back.
Okay.
We had what we call Blue Bar.
Okay.
It was a popular drinking spot in Navrongo. You couldn't miss it anytime you came to Navrongo.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had Blue Bar over there. Okay. Then further on, well, that portion wasn't encroached upon, was the old hospital.
Okay.
The initial hospital in Navrongo.
I asked who financed the...
It's a government of Ghana project.
Okay, great. Okay. Please, are you able to tell us whether that Navrongo NACC building is one of its kind, or government had a similar project for other places in Ghana, if you know of?
Like I said, the building, the initial sketch designs were done by NACC foreman.
Okay.
We only came in, AESC came in to help with the working drawings.
Okay.
He only did the sketches and brought to us. Then we had to do the working drawings.
Okay.
But I don't think that thing was replicated anywhere else.
Okay. Okay. Do you recall when the construction of the NACC building came to a halt, if you remember? Either the period you think or the exact year will help.
I wasn't in Ghana then when it stopped.
Okay.
because those days was when all these military interventions and all those things came.
So, in the current state of the NACC building, I don't know how recently you visited Navrongo. Do you think if there are resources available, the original purpose of the building can still continue, or some breaking down and reconstruction have to happen as a technical man?
Well, I think there has to be a structural examination to see whether there are any defects. Normally, with a building, we have settlement cracks, but apart from the settlement crack, there could be more serious cracks, which if the detailed study is done, we'll be able to identify those things and then recommend what is to be done later. But I remember 6-7 years ago, I proposed to the then DC, Mr. Nabo, whether since they didn't have the funds to do that project, whether they wouldn't consider bringing in those tenants. They can do the design and then have guidelines for them. If you want to occupy this place, this is the standard we want, so that they can plug in their resources, and then those resources can be recovered through rental recovery.
Okay. I know, of course, as it stands now, the original purpose for the construction of the NACC building looks defeated. But in the interim, we are aware residents of Navrongo and other people living in town do a number of businesses in the NACC building. You think, I mean, like we say, all is not lost. At least the building has been put to some kind of use in the interim. It's okay. It's an okay arrangement, or the building should just be locked up until such a time that funds are gotten to continue.
I remember I wasn't in Navrongo then, but portions of the columns on the first floor developed some defects, and I'm told one or two of the columns collapsed. Okay. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but that could have been a disaster. Okay. So maybe if I will put this squarely at the footstep of the assembly, if they can have a structural re-examination, then bring proposals. Maybe the assembly will be able to absorb it. If not, maybe they can look for people to finance it. So, but just to leave it standing there, that will be causing financial loss to the state.
Mr. Sebo, I'm glad you are one of the architects that worked on the NACC building 75. That's a long time today. And I know in Ghana that unfortunately we do have issues with, record keeping and all of that. But do you happen to have a copy of the drawings or paperworks on the NACC building?
I'm not even supposed to keep a copy because that is purely government property.
Great.
As an architect, you don't keep copy of a design you've done, but implementation is of AESL.
Okay.
They should have it.
They should have it.
Yeah.
All things being equal.
Yes. They should have it.
I also know the Kasana and Kana Municipal Assembly is the local representation of government authority in the area. You suspect they may also have a copy?
I doubt if they will have, because we're dealing purely with regional administration. They were considered as the clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Representing government.
Representing government.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those days we used to do everything manual.
Okay.
So printing was even a problem then. Okay. We used to use sunlight for printing drawings. Okay. So if we trace to AESC, okay. I'm sure if their record keeping is good, they should. They all those things may have been torn by now because
it's a long time that has passed.
A long time, and these transparent sheets, they are affected by heat and all that.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Sebum. Now, mostly when government is putting in place projects like this, I understand maybe private property and could be captured within the area. Are you aware if compensation was duly paid to people whose lands were affected by this coming of the NACC building?
Yeah, I think all people whose properties were within the vicinity were duly compensated. We don't have any problem with that.
To the extent that today, if money is ready for the building to continue or a little extension to its area that was demarcated, there shouldn't be a problem?
Yes, the only problem they may have is because people are used to the place now. So moving them, people will start pleading, asking for social interventions and other things. But apart from that, if they want to go purely on technical terms, there's no problem there.
Okay.
But socially, people will express concern that they should put a human face to it.
Okay.
The way I see. But I also have a concern about that building and the vicinity.
Okay.
The road in front of it. Fortunately, the opposite that, the stores which are there, I designed them.
Great.
Yeah.
The stores facing
Baladigro's place.
Okay, yeah.
I designed that place.
Great.
But when you get in there right now, I passed there yesterday, you find people push trucks, they park them on the road. This bicycles, they park anyhow. And no, but it looks like even car owners don't have the right to the road. So much more pedestrians.
Okay.
So that's the concern I have for that building.
So the place looks very congested.
It looks not only congested, it looks untidy.
Especially on the Navrongo market days.
It looks untidy, and it seems there's nobody in control.
We are almost done, and we appreciate your time for granting wedamBu this interview on the NACC building. So, from what I've learned on the NACC building, those of us of yesterday who have grown up in Navrongo thinking all the while that the NACC building was a complex of offices for government is not the case. No,
it was a social center. It was a social. So the proper name for the place is Navrongo Social Center.
Okay. But the NACC
building. NACC were the contractors.
Okay, so the
Netherlands African Construction Company, NACC.
Okay.
Because they were the contractors.
Okay.
People knew the contractors to be NACC, so they say NACC building.
Okay, so this is our interview with Honorable Joseph Weguri, who is a development consultant. One time worked with NACC. We sought to speak to him to know what information he also knows about the NACC building.
The name NACC is associated with the persons who are constructing the facility.
Okay.
And that is not the name of the facility itself.
Okay.
2, the facility came up under the regime of Colonel I.K. Achampong, later called General Kutu Achampong, of the NRC and SMC1 era. And it is based on the instrumentality of Colonel Roger Fairley, who was a member of the NRC and the SMC1.
Okay. And
their intention was to provide a multi-purpose center for socialization, business, etc.
Yeah.
And the overarching goal is to improve on the social life of the people of Navrongo. So that building came with the idea of having a cinema, having some stores like a mall type of thing, and having other entertainment avenues like a nightclub and other things. And it was not only Navrongo. There were 4 of those types.
Okay, so which other places do we have the type?
Aguna Swidru is one. That one is completed and is working.
Okay.
Very beautiful.
Same plan, same structure.
The same plan, same structure, everything.
Okay.
It's working at Aguna Swidru.
Okay.
And this is the purpose for which the building was constructed.
Okay.
And having come to Navrongo, the AESL were the consultants
to the project.
Okay. And I'm proud to announce that my brother-in-law, John Sebum, was one of the principal consultants supervising that work.
Honorable, you have been in development work, you've done work with non-governmental organizations and stuff like that. You also do consulting. Looking at the current state of the NACC building, does it still remain in your thinking that government can revisit the project and carry on with its original intent of what the building was meant to be?
Yes.
In its current state?
Yes, emphatically yes. And that will require first a feasibility study, a structural evaluation, an evaluation report on it.
And I dare add that a relocation plan, because right now so many of our own brothers, sisters and aunties are doing business in the building. They will have to be sent somewhere.
That is an issue of a fact, but I do not care about that. When it becomes necessary to be reallocated, they must be reallocated, because to the best of my knowledge and of my personal interest in seeing Navrongo develop, I don't care if they are pushed out today and new work starts tomorrow. Because
originally they need not be there in the first place.
Exactly. And all that area to the Zongo, around the Friday Mosque, have been paid, compensated for, and reallocated. So that land is all meant for that structure and the
its future expansion.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's because the works have stalled that people have, should I say, encroached all that area?
Not that they have encroached, they have refused to move. So where it is necessary to force them to move, they must move.
Because as far as you are concerned, compensation has
been paid
at that time.
At that time, long ago.
Okay.
And because there is no work, there is inaction, they have remained certain.
Okay.
All of them have been sent to Belobia. We can write all the letters advocating, lobbying, and the lobbying should be started by our MP. We should put a forum together comprising of all the former MPs for the sake of Navrongo, non-partisan platform, to see to the agenda of completing projects that have been left not worked on,
with particular attention to my NACC building.
Exactly.
Okay, so Mr. Sebum, aside the NACC building on which you worked alongside a colleague of yours back then, can you tell us other projects you worked on during your active days as an architect in the region?
Yes, while we are still on NACC, they were the same people who designed the Bolga Social Center, Catering Rest House.
Okay.
The same technician designed that place and
the
same NACC. Okay. We did the working drawings.
Okay.
There too, I've seen that work has been abandoned and most of the things that were intended to be didn't come on. Okay. In Navrongo, I worked on the Tono special school for the hearing impairment and what have you. I worked on the
St. John's Integrated?
St. John's Integrated.
Okay.
I designed the girls' dormitory block.
Okay. That's just in recent past.
Recent. I designed the boys' dormitory block.
Okay.
I designed the classroom block.
Yeah. Are you able to tell us the year? That's just recent.
That was
I think late 2000.
That's about late 2000.
Okay.
About 2000, 2008, 9, 10.
Thereabouts. Okay.
Then I also worked on Nara Rural Bank in Paga. I designed it.
Okay, the headquarters in Paga.
Yes, in Paga. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I have a working relationship with them.
Then one of AESC, that is a long time ago, 75. We designed the immigration block, the agric block in Paga.
Okay.
Paga border.
Okay.
It was being handled by us.
So let me also ask, being an indigenous from Navrongo, I suspect you might have done some kind of or some sort of work on the Catholic Church blocks there, because I know of the Mad Cathedral, which is several decades old. I know of the museum. Have you happened to do any work with those projects?
Yes, I handled the St. Joseph Cathedral.
Okay.
The construction.
Is it the Mad building?
No. The main cathedral.
Okay.
I handled that for about 10 years.
Okay.
I also handled the Catholic Church In Navrongo, the cottages they have at St. Mary's.
Okay.
I handled the renovations and all that.
Okay.
So at Notre Dame, their church.
Okay.
They wanted to expand it, so one of the fathers got me to
that our secular church.
Yeah. In fact, I had difficulty trying to, because I had to do a measured drawing.
Though the NACC building did not see its intended lifetime, it didn't see its completion. It has not been left to rot just like that. We understand the Katsina-Nankana Municipal Assembly is currently the authority that is running or operating the NACC building in its current form and shape, as its completion stalled many decades ago. And this is how the view looks like from the first floor of the NACC building in Navrongo. These shots you are seeing right now are shots taken on top of the first floor of the NACC building and facing the main Navrongo lorry station. This shot rolling right now. It's a shot taken from the top, that's the first floor of the NACC building, looking down into the ground floor. And you can see people selling used clothing right now within the portion of the block. And there is a clinic, a private clinic operating at the other end of the NACC building, the end of it that is closest to the Navrongo main lorry station. I understand there's also a pub up there. Is it JB Pub, if the name is correct, up there, operated by a young man. So at least, even though the NACC building did not see its planned completion, it has been put to some form of use by authorities of the Katsina-Nankana Municipal Assembly. Let me make a note here that wedamBu TV tried a number of times to have an interview with the Municipal Chief Executive, Honorable Joseph Adongo, on the current state of the NACC building, how businesses get permission from the assembly to do business within the NACC building. But much as we tried, the interview just didn't happen. I placed calls to the Municipal Chief Executive. We arranged, I went to the office, I couldn't meet him. I sent a WhatsApp asking whether if I couldn't meet him in person, could we do the interview on phone. The message has been read, but I have not had any reply from the Municipal Chief Executive.